We want to then talk about directly to my right to Dr. Edward L. Greene. And Dr. Edward Greene is Director of Ethics and Servant Leadership Program and Coordinator of Undergraduate Studies, Emory University Center for Ethics. And the interesting story about you is that as Julie Fox and the team were looking for folks in Atlanta that they could actually get in touch with, that could be a great representative of this topic, Emory University kept coming up as clearly a academic center that had interest in this field. Your name then came up, both from the standpoint of a very unique way in which you are educating the emerging leaders, as well as all the work that you're doing within the community. So Dr. Greene, we're very happy to have you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. This whole piece of people and how this is an age now of focusing and paying attention to people. This sort of nicely fits into your backyard, Dr. Greene, in the sense of, you are an educator, and you are an educator of the up-and-coming people relative to those who are going to be entering the market and having an impact as leaders. Can you share a little bit about the program that you're creating in servant leadership that is really unique and being acknowledged as an interesting path in terms of something being back in college?
Yeah, I was kind of back into the question a little bit because I think it's important to recognize the social reality of these students. And it's a really kind of shocking mixed bag. They're incredibly talented, they're incredibly competent. As we were talking about earlier, they look to the world as being very mission driven. I mean, they want to accomplish something. On the other hand, the roots aren't as deep or as strong as you might wish, and the data show that across the board. And they haven't been lived into kind of a sense of responsibility. I mean, the negative way is say that they feel entitled. Now, one of the things about my program is, especially the summer internship program, is I place these students in the Atlanta area, nonprofits, government agencies, some businesses with Fifth Third Bank this year. But we do it in an environment that's both very demanding and also very supportive. And so they meet with me every week. We do an hour and a half of processing of their week for the first half, and then we kind of do skill building for the next 2 hours, and then an hour of lunch where we kind of, again, debrief. But they get thrown in incredibly, at a lot of these organizations I've been working with for years, in the language of kind of experiential education, most of my managers know that they can move these students not only into their stretch zone, but also into their panic zone very quickly. And they're expected to be responsible. And the question I asked them, and I said, well, you go through this entire work, is constantly ask yourself the question, what would I do if I were responsible for this organization? I'm responsible for all these people. I'm responsible for the money. I'm responsible for all the stakeholders. And it's for the overwhelming majority of them, it's the first time in their lives they've asked to be responsible for something other than themselves. And it changes their perspective on the world. But you have to bring them along. Some of them better than others. But, and again, I also don't want to call you out, Tiffany, but I mean, I remember when Tiffany told the student I had there, my Dow, told my you're actually doing this presentation to all this kind of senior leadership on Thursday or whatever day it was, and she's completely freaked out. She's never had to kind of owned up to what she did into such a high-powered group, but she delivered wonderfully. But you have to kind of give them the opportunities. You have to teach them that you trust them. But at the same time, you have to constantly encourage them that you have to develop a way of being in the world. And everybody has lied to you your entire 12 years of education. No, you shouldn't be what you are. As Mark Twain said, be yourself is the worst advice you can give to some people. I constantly tell them, you have to be who you ought to be, not who you are. You don't get a prize just for showing up. And it's a major shift for some of them. Now I spent my whole life trying to grow up and be a curmudgeon, and I've almost reached the age where I can get away with it. But I think it's serious. But you can only do that, and this gets back to everything Stephen was saying earlier. You can only do that if you develop that relationship with the trust with students, that they actually know that you care about them, that you actually know you want to develop them, and you actually want what's best for them in the long run.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you.